How people use mobile devices to access the internet. Mobile devices like the iPad and iPhone are one of the fastest growing segments of internet users. These devices are getting more and more capable and can do many, if not all, of the things that most people want to do on the internet. That doesn't mean they're replacing computers anytime soon, mind you. While they're able to handle most of the same functions, there are a few that are much more common. In this article, we're going to look at 3 of the biggest uses for mobile internet devices. Looking up information. Many people who access your company's website on a mobile device are looking for one of a small number of things: your company's phone number, your business address, hours of operation, and so on. Basically, they're not looking for a lot of information about your products, services, and other such things. They just want to get some very specific information, and they want it quickly, often when they're on their way to visit your business. This is why it's important that your mobile website makes this information very easy to find. It should be no more than one click from the home page, if not on that page itself. Social media. Many people with these devices use them to access social media websites like Twitter and Facebook. For example, Facebook currently has over 800 million active users, and nearly half of them access the site from a mobile device on a regular basis. Because mobile users are so active on these sites, you need to make sure that your company has a presence there. It'll give you a very effective way to stay in touch with your customers and let you not only send them information and promotions, but also interact with them directly. Text messaging. Text messaging isn't really an internet-related function, but the rapid growth in the smartphone market means more and more people are carrying devices that allow them to send and receive SMS or text messages. You can use this to your advantage by having an SMS marketing strategy for your business. You can send promotions and other information to your customers via text message, which tends to have a much higher read rate than email and other mediums. When it comes down to it, the more ways you have to stay in touch with your customers, the better the chance that you'll be the first company that comes to mind when they're in need of the products or services that you offer. How to market with text messages. Mobile internet access is one of the biggest changes that's happening as a result of the massive growth in smartphones like the iPhone and Blackberry, but it's not the only one. Text messaging is also becoming much more widely used. In this article, we're going to look at how you can use text or SMS messaging to reach your customers. Text messaging has been around for a long time, but until the widespread growth of smartphones, many people didn't really use it. Trying to tap out a message on a regular number keypad wasn't the easiest thing to do. But since most smartphones have a keyboard built in, whether a physical one or an on-screen style, it has become much easier. As a result, far more people are using this technology, and it's become an alternative to email for marketing purposes. You've probably seen messages that say something like text the word enter to 12345 to enter our contest. When someone enters the contest, they're actually opting in to receive text messages from that company, sports team, or whomever's running the contest. Much like email, there are autoresponder-style text services that will respond instantly with a text message. From that point on, you can send text messages to those people until they opt out. Those messages can be whatever you want, but in most cases they'll be promotions of some sort. But there are a couple of big advantages of text messaging over email. First, it is a much higher open rate. Because most people have their phones with them at all times and the phone notifies them when a text comes in, they typically read it right away. And second, there's virtually no noise in people's text inboxes. There's no spam, nowhere near as many promotions, and just less text in general. So they're more likely to see your message than they are when they process email. Because text messages tend to get read right away, you can send time-sensitive promotions and expect that many of the people who receive them will read them almost instantly. Compare this to email, where people may not see your message for a day or two, or more, if they don't keep on top of their email all the time. If you're building an email list for your business, you should consider doing the same with cell phone numbers. This will give you an additional way to reach your customers at a relatively low cost. How to reach your customers on their mobile devices. Mobile devices like the iPhone and iPad are experiencing explosive growth with no sign of slowing down anytime soon. One of the biggest impacts this is having is how people access the internet. Far more of them are using these devices than ever before, and it's important that you adjust your online marketing plan to meet their needs. In this article, we're going to look at 3 ways that you can reach your customers via mobile devices. SMS messaging. SMS, or text messages, is a relatively new medium for staying in touch with your customers, but it's also one of the most effective, for the moment at least. If you have your customers opt in to receive text messages from you, it gives you the opportunity to send them promotions, new product announcements, and various other pieces of information. And these messages can be sent on extremely short notice, so you can use them strategically to generate more profit for your business. For example, if you owned a restaurant and you were having a slower than normal week, you could send a text messages to your customer on Wednesday morning offering them a free appetizer with any meal that they ordered that night. The message would be delivered immediately and would quite likely generate additional business that you wouldn't otherwise have had. Email. Email isn't strictly a mobile technology, but more and more people are using these devices to read their email. It's important that you get your customers to subscribe to your email list so you can send them information this way as well. You can send similar things as with SMS marketing, but email tends not to get read as quickly, so it's not as effective for extremely time-sensitive information. The big advantage it does have, however, is the low cost. Whether you send an email to 10 people or 500 people, it really doesn't cost you any more. Social media. Social media sites like Twitter and Facebook are also very popular with mobile internet users. In fact, almost 50% of the over 800 million active Facebook users access the site through a mobile device of some sort. By maintaining a presence on these sites for your business, you'll have yet another way to stay in touch with your customers and reach new ones as well. The more opportunities you give your customers to interact with you, the better. They all have different preferred contact methods, and you want to give them as many to choose from as possible. How to use QR codes in your business. QR codes are the square barcodes that look more like an ink blot than a barcode. The standard has existed for years, but up until recently they've been mainly used in factories and other industrial uses for tracking inventory. With the widespread adoption of smartphones with built-in cameras, however, they've moved into the mainstream. In this article, we're going to look at several strategies for using them in your business. QR codes can be used for a number of things. Business cards or name tags, product specifications, looking up addresses on Google Maps, email newsletter signups, PayPal buy now links, social media profiles, or even YouTube videos. The most common use of QR codes is to redirect people to a web page, but that's really just the beginning. They can be designed to autofill information on a web form, look up addresses automatically on Google Maps, or even create a text message with the content automatically filled in. These codes can be used anywhere that people can scan them with their smartphones, such as advertising, billboards, in-store displays, etc. Some industries can replace a lot of paper by using QR codes. Realtors, for example, could put a QR code on the for sale sign on a house they're listing. When someone scans the code, it could take them to a web page with all the details of the house and even a video walkthrough. Or conferences and trade shows could include a QR code on all attendees' name tags. Rather than trading business cards with everyone else, they could simply scan the QR code and automatically add that person to the address book on their smartphone. If you're using these codes to direct people to pages on your website, it's a good idea to use some sort of a redirect service. Once a QR code has been created, it can't be changed. It'll always point to the same URL. By using a redirect service, you can change where the code directs people by changing the ultimate destination of that redirect. Anywhere that you have your contact information is a good place for a QR code. You can have it automatically add a V card to your customer's address book, so all they need to do is scan the code and they'll have all your contact information right on their phone. Managing your brand on the internet. The internet gives your business a whole new world of advertising and marketing possibilities, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's easy for you to get the word out about your company, but it's also easy for other people to spread the word, both good and bad. In this article, we're going to look at some strategies for managing your brand on the internet. The first thing you need to keep in mind is anyone can say anything about your company online, and it can be difficult, if not impossible, to get rid of it, even if it's not true at all. When someone else comes along a week, a month, or even years down the road and searches for information about your business, they can come across these comments. If you haven't responded to them or made an effort to engage those people, especially in the case of bad feedback, they'll have nothing to go on except what other people are saying. No doubt you'd prefer to have some input into these conversations so you can at least make an effort to rectify any complaints as well as express your thanks for positive feedback. There are several ways you can stay on top of what people are saying about your business on the internet. Set up Google alerts for your company name. Maintain a presence on social media sites like Twitter and Facebook. Or give your customers as many ways to contact you as possible. Social media sites like Twitter and Facebook are growing incredibly fast. Facebook alone has over 800 million active users. Chances are good that many of your customers, both current and future, are using the site. By maintaining a presence for your business, you'll give people an outlet to interact with you, and you can keep an eye on the things your customers are saying about your business. On top of these, you should have a website of your own, a Google Places listing, and other places where people can reach you. The more you have, the better, because not everyone wants to use the same method for getting in touch with you. Mobile versus traditional online marketing. Online marketing is evolving, much like anything else related to the internet and technology. But the move from desktop to mobile internet usage is happening even faster, and you need to adjust your marketing strategy to keep up with the changes. In this article, we're going to look at a few of the differences that you need to be aware of. The biggest difference is how people are browsing your company's website. More and more people are using mobile devices like the iPhone and iPad to browse the web, and this presents some unique problems from a marketer's perspective. The latest mobile devices are more than capable of displaying a standard web page, but being able to display it doesn't mean it's actually readable or usable. When a standard layout is viewed on a small screen like you'll find on most mobile devices, everything is so small that it's really difficult to read and nearly impossible to click on links. You need to offer your visitors a mobile-optimized version of your website that will not only be easier to read, it'll also be easier to navigate. The mobile version can work alongside your existing site. The web server can identify the type of device and display the appropriate version, so you don't need to create a second website or anything like that. The mobile version of your site should also highlight different things. The main things people are looking for when browsing on mobile devices are contact information, your phone number, email, etc., and other information like your business address or hours of operation. Make sure this information is either on the home page or within a single click from it so people can find it easily. Another change that mobile marketing brings is how you contact your customers. Sure, they still use email on their mobile devices, but text messages can be a much more effective alternative. They still give you direct access to your customer's inbox, but text messaging is far less noise and tends to get read faster and more consistently. Even social media sites like Twitter and Facebook are widely used on mobile devices, so you should have a business presence on those sites as well. This will give your customers yet another outlet where they can interact with you. The more alternatives you give them, the better, since not everybody wants to use the same method of communication. Should your company have an iPhone app? Apple's iPhone has had a huge impact on the mobile market since its introduction in 2007. One of the biggest impacts it's had is in the app market, software applications that run on the phone. Many large companies have created iPhone apps that allow their customers to interact with them through their phones. This technology isn't just for big companies, however. Even smaller businesses can benefit from these apps. And it doesn't have to cost a small fortune to have them created, even if you don't know a lick about programming. The big question for most businesses is, what would our app do? Finding the right answer to this is important because offering your customers an app that doesn't benefit them or catch their attention in some way isn't going to be very effective. Look at some of the most popular apps that large companies provide. Amazon.com offers an app that lets you shop right from your iPhone. You can look up products that Amazon sells, read all the details, and even order the product right from the app. It even includes a barcode scanner so you can compare prices to a local store simply by scanning a UPC code. And Apple themselves offer an Apple Store app that lets you buy products and arrange pickup in your local Apple Store, as well as more mundane things like checking in for a service appointment. In these two examples, the apps are extensions of the things that the companies already offer. Amazon's a large online retailer, and their iPhone app simply makes it easier to buy from them. And the Apple Store offers many products and services for which the shopping process is simplified by handling it all from the customer's iPhone. Not to mention the staff costs that are saved by allowing customers to look these things up for themselves. Look at your current business to come up with ideas for an app. What events or actions don't run as smoothly as they could? Maybe an app could help solve the problem. For example, if you run a restaurant, you might have an iPhone app that offers live seating updates. So a customer could check the seating before they leave home to see how busy it is and how long a wait there's going to be. This would not only make it easier for your customers, it could also help you fill the seats at slower times since people could see when those times are and come in then. Social media and mobile internet devices. Social media is a critical part of an online marketing plan for almost any type of business these days. Sites like Twitter and Facebook have millions of users, and if your company doesn't have a presence there, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to connect with your customers, both existing and future. And with the explosive growth of mobile devices like the iPhone and iPad, social media use is growing even faster. The most recent statistics that Facebook has shared state that they have over 800 million active users, over 50% of whom log into the site on any given day. And there are over 350 million active users who access the site through their mobile devices. And it's also been shown that those mobile users tend to be even more active on the site than average. Great, you might be thinking, but how does this affect your business? The bottom line is you need to be interacting with your customers through these sites and doing it in a way that makes it easy for people to find the information they're looking for. People who use mobile devices to search out your business tend to be looking for a small number of things: your phone number, your business address, hours of operation, and so on. It's important that you make this type of information available easily to your customers in a format that makes it easy to find on a mobile device with a smaller screen and a limited keyboard. While having a mobile-optimized website layout is a big part of this equation, it's also important to include this information on your Facebook page, your Twitter profile, and anywhere else that you're connected with your customers. People will look for information in many different ways, so you want to give them as many opportunities as you can. After all, if they can't find what they're looking for when they search for your company, they might just decide it's not worth the effort and seek out one of your competitors instead. Because people can connect with you on social media, that could very well be the place they turn to find the information they're looking for. Make sure that they can find it easily, and you'll be far more likely to get their business when they're ready to buy. The 3 most important pieces of information to include on your mobile site. With the explosive growth of the smartphone and tablet markets, it's extremely important that you have a mobile marketing strategy for your business. If you don't have a mobile-optimized website, chances are you're losing customers to your competition. If someone looks up your company on the internet through their iPhone, for example, and your website is designed for full-size browsers, it's going to be extremely hard to read and to navigate. Many people who land on your site will simply click away and find an alternative, which is usually going to be one of your competitors. But simply having a mobile-optimized layout isn't really enough. You also need to be sure that your mobile website is providing the information that people are looking for. People visiting your website from a mobile device tend to be looking for different information than they would if they were accessing it from their computer. Usually people on a mobile device are on the go and looking for some very specific things: your company's phone number, your business address, hours of operation, and so on. And they're often looking for this information when they need to contact you or get your place of business. Those customers are highly qualified since they're actively seeking you out to provide them with a solution to their problem. If your website doesn't give them what they're looking for, they'll just move on. It's critical that you have a mobile-optimized layout to work well with these devices, but beyond the layout, you also need to be sure your site makes this type of information easy to find. Think of it in these terms. Someone should be able to load your site and find the information they need with one hand while they're sitting at a stoplight. If your site passes that test, it's going to work well for mobile access. There's rarely any need to provide information such as product specifications, company history, and other such things on a mobile site. When people are looking for that kind of information, they're much more likely to do it on a full-size screen. If you really feel the need to include it, you can always have a link to the standard version of your website on the mobile layout. Most mobile devices are able to display the standard layouts, it just makes it a lot harder to navigate. Why you need a mobile-friendly website. One of the fastest growing segments of internet use is mobile. Devices like the iPhone and Blackberry are able to access the web from almost anywhere, and they're selling like crazy. And that means you need to be sure that your website works on these devices. In this article, we're going to look at several reasons why this is so important. Mobile devices like the iPhone have very capable web browsers that are able to display pretty well any standard website. But there's still one big stumbling block when it comes to using those sites: the size of the screen. When a standard web page is shrunk down to fit on these small screens, it makes it practically impossible to read and very difficult to click on any links. Yes, you can zoom in and pan around the page, but it adds a level of complexity to the process. If your web page is optimized for these small screens, on the other hand, it makes it far easier to use. And let's face it, if your website isn't easy to use, your visitors are probably going to just leave and find one that is. In addition to having a mobile-friendly layout, you should also keep in mind how people tend to use these devices to access the internet. The majority of people who are looking at your website on a mobile device are looking for very specific information: your phone number, your address, hours of operation, and so on. Ideally, you want to make this information as easy to find as possible. Your mobile layout should highlight these things in such a way that they're either immediately visible when someone visits your site, or they're no more than one click away. Creating a mobile version of your website doesn't require two completely separate domains either. When someone visits your site, the type of browser and the device they're using is sent to your site, so you can simply display whichever version of the site is appropriate. If a web design company handles your website for you, they should be able to set this up. It's simply a matter of having them design a mobile-friendly version of what you already have and identifying the information that you want to have included on the mobile version of your site.